Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation. Thank you for joining us. My name is Michael Corgiat. I am one of the retirement-focused advisors for AT&T employees here at the Retirement Group. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about healthcare costs and healthcare in general, both pre-65 and post-65 insurance coverage. So we're going to touch on Medicare as well, some of the biggest concerns that all individuals, including AT&Ters, have, and then the benefits of working with a financial advisor. So again, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. These on-demand webinars are just one of the many resources that we offer. We do these for a number of different companies, including AT&T, on all sorts of different subjects. So it is great that you're joining me today on this healthcare webinar, but we also do them on the retirement plans, the 401k, estate planning, value insurance, and all these sorts of things. So please keep that in mind. We also maintain an ebooks library with ebooks on all sorts of different subjects. We have our own newsletter as well as our own blog. You can get your own AT&T retirement guide just by reaching out to our office and asking for it. It's very comprehensive. I think you find it very valuable. And one of our proudest resources is our Retire Kit, our retirement cash flow analysis. It's a complimentary service that we offer anyone who's interested. And what it'll do is give you an idea of where you're at currently and where you're going financially and what your retirement could look like, whether you're going to retire a year from now, 5 years from now, or 10 years from now. The sooner you start planning and working with a financial advisor, the better off you're going to be in retirement. Trust me, because those that start planning sooner rather than later are definitely in a better position. So keep all that in mind and please take advantage of these resources. I am one of a team here at the Retirement Group. We've got an awful lot of guys with a lot of experience. We have offices nationwide. I'm based here in the Midwest in St. Louis. We're very knowledgeable of the AT&T savings, pension, and medical programs, so we can speak very intelligently about it. And I've already talked about it. Take advantage of our complimentary financial analysis. And finally, scan this QR code and follow us on LinkedIn. It's a great LinkedIn page. One of the things you will be able to follow on our page is future webinar schedules. So please join us there. All right, let's dive into today's presentation. Some of the biggest retirement concerns of AT&T employees. Well, everyone has a concern about running out of money in retirement. More than half of Americans are concerned about, again, running out of money after retirement as a major concern. And it's legitimate. The average AT&T retiree is somewhere between the ages of 55 and 60. And life expectancy is between 85 and 90 years of age. So we're talking about a lot of time that you could be living and living off of your monies to where you could have a concern of running out. All right, this is a very legitimate concern, and doing a plan and keeping that plan up to date will definitely help you to see where you're at and where you're going, both pre-retirement and then into and all the way through retirement. And then secondly, increased healthcare costs. We're all living longer. Healthcare costs are going up every year via inflation, and there's a lot of other financial pressures to make this a real fear for all retirees. So let's talk about some of the changes that AT&T is going to make moving forward. This is primarily for post-65 individuals that are retired and have been benefiting from a specific program that AT&T offers retirees. Okay? AT&T is no longer going to provide any reimbursement accounts after the end of this year. Beginning in 2024, AT&T will offer one company health care plan for Medicare recipients. And that one plan right now is underwritten by United Healthcare. It will cost you nothing for yourself and $50 a month for your spouse and or dependent. One plan. So if you choose to remain on any other Medicare insurance policy or Medicare Advantage policy that is not this plan, you will pay for those costs all on your own out of your pocket. The HRA benefit is going away next year, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit. But keeping all that in mind, let's talk about healthcare costs, some of the alternatives that are available to you both pre-65, and I'll talk more about post-65 benefit, and then health insurance in general. What does the average American think their health care is going to cost them in retirement? Well, a survey was done, and that average cost was $41,000 over their lifetime. That is a huge shortfall. Essentially, the average cost for a couple 65 years old is $315,000, and that is going up by 5% a year and has been for year after year after year. Do the math. Just take that figure, $315,000, and divide it by 25. That'll give you an idea of what you've got to look forward to in spending on both your health care and premiums, out-of-pocket expenses, each and every year moving forward. And the benefits of preparing for that by putting a plan together and having assets set aside specifically for these costs and expenses can be great. Okay, so you definitely want to keep that in mind. It's very expensive, and AT&T pretty much is not going to be helping you anymore moving forward. Prescription drugs are a consistent part of the increase in overall healthcare costs. They increased 5.6% this year. On average, they've been going up anywhere between 5 and 10% per year. The government is putting a lot of pressure on pharmaceutical companies right now to lower their costs for prescription drugs for things like arthritis and cancer and other illnesses. So keeping that in mind, it is one of the biggest costs as far as healthcare is concerned, prescription drugs. In other words, we spend an awful lot of money on prescription drugs, even if we never go into the hospital. So please keep that in mind. Some of the alternatives for individuals who've retired already and before the age of 65. Now, first I want to point out a couple of things. For those of you that retired from AT&T before the age of 65, if you retired in 2021 and before, you were offered a subsidized retirement health care program for both you and your spouse. And essentially what I'm saying is that there is a total cost per month, and then there is a subsidized cost to you per month. You had to leave before January 1st of 2021 to be eligible for this. All right. Moving forward, those of you that retired last year are eligible for the AT&T Group Retirement Plan, which they do have a plan available, actually a couple of different insurance companies, but you're going to pay the total cost. And that total unsubsidized cost could average between $700 and $1,200 per month, per person, depending on which plan you choose, i.e. a gold, a silver, or a bronze type insurance plan. The differences there are in deductibles and coinsurance. Okay, so that's the first option that you have. You do have the ability to elect COBRA. COBRA is a short-term fix, typically 18 months for you and your spouse if you're both insured. You could always go onto your spouse's health insurance plan if they have one and they are working. You can get another job and join, hopefully, the health care plan that employer is offering. And then finally, there's the health care exchange. The health care exchange, or the Affordable Care Act, was created years ago to provide health care to individuals and their families, and in some cases at a subsidized rate, and I'll talk a little more about that. So, the ACA may be a better alternative if it could be an alternative for you if you want to take a look at it. Now, I've personally participated on the ACA as an individual who's self-employed, and 87% of marketplace enrollees can potentially qualify for some sort of financial help with their health insurance premiums. In other words, if your income level falls below the levels that are required to be maintained, you can get a subsidy. Now, what I would strongly recommend is that you go onto the healthcare exchange at healthcare.gov after, or I would probably recommend even before retirement, and plug in your information to see what your options are. One of the biggest benefits of the ACA program is that you cannot be denied for pre-existing conditions. And many of us at older ages are being treated for something. Those cannot be limited or excluded on the healthcare exchange. The lower your adjusted gross income is over time, the lower your potential premiums could be. So again, this is one great option depending on what your income is like. So if you've truly retired and are living off of a modest income, which might include your Social Security, there is a very good chance that you will qualify for a subsidy on the healthcare exchange. You can enroll or switch your plans, and you can also qualify for special enrollment periods, which this could be someone who either retires during the middle of the year or is surplus or laid off during the middle of the year, so that is an option that you have available to you. And you have several different, again, tiered options. I mentioned earlier gold, silver, and bronze. The differences in cost as well as the differences in benefits can be seen there on the exchange. I'll talk about running a cash flow again. Scan this QR code and schedule a meeting with myself or one of my colleagues here at the Retirement Group. This cash flow analysis can help uncover a number of future issues as well as helping to assist you in determining what your best health care plan option could be and what you can afford. You know, healthcare costs are part of a plan I talk about with each and every person that I run a cash flow analysis for, as well as we can help you with tax planning, estate planning, and other insurance planning. So again, please reach out to one of us. Medicare. Okay, let's talk about Medicare. At age 65, you will get better insurance at lower costs with guaranteed coverage of at least 80% of your medical expenses. As you get close to age 65, you can enroll in Medicare, depending on what plan you want to do, but you should start looking even prior to 3 months prior to your birthday. But you can enroll in Medicare within 3 months of your pre-birthday as well as 3 months after your birthday. But healthcare there and beyond, I'm going to talk a little bit about the two different kinds of plans, which are Medicare supplemental insurance policies and Medicare Advantage. Medicare supplemental insurance plans, you keep Medicare and you're essentially buying an insurance policy that will allow you to, amongst other things, choose your own doctors and get a level of care that could be just like the gold, silver, and bronze plans. Okay? The average cost could be anywhere between $90 and $200 a month per individual. You've got a lot more flexibility with Medicare supplemental insurance plans. You'd be covered anywhere in the United States. Most of these plans have their own networks of doctors and hospitals, but they're very comprehensive networks. And you do guarantee your own renewability and that your benefits will never change. Or you can look at a Medicare Advantage policy. A Medicare Advantage policy is a replacement of Medicare. You forfeit your original Medicare and this insurance becomes your Medicare coverage. You are restricted in some degree to the benefits as well as the doctors and hospitals, but it is less expensive. You might have to get a referral to see a specialist, so on and so forth. Honestly, Medicare supplemental insurance plans are probably better and make more sense for retirees who have issues, healthcare issues, or taking prescriptions, maybe a number of prescriptions, whereas a Medicare Advantage policy might make more sense for healthier retirees because you don't have to worry about a bunch of different doctors and potential hospitals. You don't have to worry about, are my prescriptions covered by a policy, a Medicare Advantage policy. So keeping in mind, these are the two different options for Medicare eligible recipients. We'll talk a little bit about the impact on the premium that you will pay for Medicare. Essentially, if a couple earns more than $194,000 or an individual earns more than $97,000 a year, you might wind up with an additional premium known as IRMA, which is the income-related monthly adjustment amount. Okay, and there's a table that I'm going to get to, but essentially, IRMA will raise the premium for Medicare depending on what your household adjusted gross income is. But let's look at an example. We've got Bob and Jane here. Bob's Medicare eligible. He's chosen to buy a Medicare supplemental insurance plan, and Part A is covered. Part B, he's going to pay the Medicare premium, which last year was $170.10. He's going to pay $127 a month for his supplemental insurance policy, and then he's also going to pay $7.50 a month for a Part D drug plan. You could also buy dental and vision insurance as well in retirement. And then his wife, Jane, who's still working, she could choose to obviously cover herself through an employer, or she could go to the healthcare exchange and buy a mid-tiered plan, and her out-of-pocket costs based on an income like I've talked about could be $1,200 a month. Now again, healthcare.gov, the healthcare exchange, you can get subsidies depending on your income level. But in our example here, Bob and Jane are going to be spending over $1,500 a month because Jane's not eligible for Medicare yet. To look at these IRMA costs, all right, I mentioned this year the premiums dropped from $170 to $164.90. But if your adjusted gross income is higher than $97 or $194, you would wind up paying more per month for that year. And as you can see here, it goes from the $164.90 up to as much as $560 a month. And that's your Part B insurance premiums, depending on what your adjusted gross income is in retirement. So you got to keep that in mind. It's great to be successful during your working life, and it's great to have success in your retirement, but you potentially could be paying higher Part B insurance premiums based on that success in your retirement income. And let's talk, this is great. Let's talk about some of the premiums on the healthcare exchange state by state. The average is $560 per month. That went up by 4% over last year. And these rates vary state by state. In this case, Georgia had an average cost of $474 a month, but their premiums went up by more than 20% from 22 to 23. Colorado, Wyoming, Alaska, and New Mexico. So as you can see here, the monthly costs vary by state, and as you can see, it's significantly by state. And the increases also vary by state. So again, if you're on the exchange and you're using that insurance there, you've got to be ready for potential increases that could be significant moving forward in your retirement. And then finally, just some of the differences in the cost for Part A, the deductibles, co-insurance levels, skilled nursing facility, all of the costs went up last year by 3% and will continue to go up over time. And then finally, just talking about, we've talked about a lot of things as far as healthcare, retirement planning, and so on, but there is a lot of benefit in working with a financial advisor like myself or one of my colleagues here at the retirement group, or just in general. Okay? Financial advisors like myself, we basically earn our living by managing retirement assets. And on average, our management costs using the Charles Schwab platform for our retired clients averages around 1% or less, depending on the amount of assets that we are managing for our retired clients. Now, I like to say we add a significant amount of value that actually does have or can equate to an overall return to you on your retirement assets. And that value can be in other areas, not just investment management. It can be estate planning, other insurance planning, and tax planning, just to name a few. We can be your coach, your behavioral coach. I mean, it is our job to keep people in check, especially during volatile times like what we're living through right now. Last year was a very difficult year in the market. People's investments, in some cases, were significantly impacted. 2023 hasn't changed. It's still a volatile time. So we can help add value in the form of an overall return on your investments, doing comprehensive financial planning and active wealth management. So all I'm saying is that we can add a lot of value in excess of 4% to your overall returns by keeping you from doing things that may not make sense moving forward, as well as the value that we can add in a number of other areas. So schedule a meeting with myself or one of my colleagues. You could give our office a call at 1-800-900-5867. Send us an email at info@theretirementgroup.com. Again, scan the QR code here on the left to schedule a meeting. Scan the one on the right to follow us on our LinkedIn page. And we would definitely look forward to talking with you. Okay? So now finally, I'm going to see if we have any good questions from the audience. And yes, I do see some here. So again, just give me a minute and I will pull these up. Okay. First question. This is a good question. I have a disabled son. Will he still get benefits under the new AT&T plan in 2024? That's a great question, and it can be answered depending on your situation several different ways. I'd probably strongly recommend that this individual reach out to our office so we could discuss his or her situation specifically. But what I can say is that disabled dependents are eligible for health care coverage beyond the normal age of the age of 26 for your children. That's number one. So if you are currently eligible for the retirement health care program and are especially getting a subsidized benefit, and as long as AT&T chooses not to take that benefit away moving forward, which they can do it. Look what they're doing to post-65 retirees. If you're Medicare eligible now, that disabled son or daughter can get benefits, but we'd have to look at it and take it in a different way. So again, yes, in general, but specifically depending on your situation, I would definitely recommend that you reach out to us and let's talk more specifically about your situation. Next question. If AT&T takes away the HRA, how will I afford my out-of-pocket costs? Okay, well, this year is the last year for those of you that are eligible for it. Next year, that $2,700 for yourself and $1,500 for your spouse is gone. How will I afford my out-of-pocket costs? Well, you're going to have to pay for them out of your own pocket. And therein lies planning, saving, growth in your retirement assets. Hopefully your retirement assets, Social Security benefits, pension benefits, spousal benefits, hopefully all of that added together will allow you to afford those annual costs. But if they don't, you might have to do something different. You might have to go get a part-time job or get a job where you get additional health care benefits. But bottom line, it's going to change, and it's going to have a significant impact on retirees. Next question. Does my Social Security pay for Medicare? Your Social Security doesn't pay for Medicare, but your Medicare Part D or Part B and Part D premiums can be deducted from your Social Security checks if you're collecting your Social Security benefits. Okay? Withholding is already done. So the key is if you are collecting your Social Security, in other words, you're eligible for Medicare at age 65. You may have started your Social Security at 62. Well, you don't have to worry about Medicare premiums at 62 or 63 or 64. It's at 65 when you enroll in Medicare. But the withholding for the premium is withheld. But if you've chosen to defer your Social Security till normal full retirement age, which for most of us is between 66 and 67, you will be writing a check for that premium. So I hope that helped answer that question. Another great question here. If I retire before 65, do I have to wait till open enrollment to use the healthcare exchange? It's a great question. Okay. Again, it depends. Now, if you retire during a calendar year, yes, you have special election privileges to join the healthcare exchange. You don't have to wait until annual enrollment at the end of the year. So yes, you will have options, but you do not have to wait because it's a special circumstance. Okay, final question, good question here. My current advisor helped me with a big Roth conversion, but didn't tell me about the higher Medicare premiums. Will they be higher forever? Well, let me answer this sort of in a couple of pieces. This individual sounds like they did a big Roth conversion, which means they've taken a big chunk of their pre-tax monies and converted it to a Roth IRA, but they've paid taxes on those monies that they converted to the Roth. And it could have been $100,000 or even more. So that income is included when the calculation is being made for the IRMA, which I talked about here earlier. And it could raise your Part B insurance premiums for Medicare. But will they remain high forever? The answer is no. It's looked at on a year-by-year basis. So unless this individual is doing a big Roth conversion year after year after year, their Medicare Part B premiums will adjust back down when their income is at normal levels. I appreciate everyone's attention today. I hope this was very helpful. All you have to do if you want to talk with one of us again is reach out to our office at 1-800-900-5867 or send us an email at info@theretirementgroup.com. I want you all to have a safe and happy rest of your day, and we'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye.